Hi, this is George Mena with David Devlin. Welcome to this week's blogcast. It's good to have you with us. As you can see, we're right behind the American Magic Guild studios, ready to talk to you about a topic that I think is interesting. It has to do with using cards for mentalism. And these are going to be for the beginner to intermediate, mostly beginner. And we're going to show you some effects. Then we're going to talk to you about how to do some audience management and angles and a few things like that. Mm-hmm. So what we want to start doing is right off the bat, teach you one of our favorite effects. And again, it has to do with mentalism. Dave, do you want to start or you want me to start?
Sure, I'll go ahead and start. How about? Okay, just why don't you do me a favor and shuffle up the cards. I won't even look. It doesn't matter. I've seen the trick anyway, so.
It's one of yours, right? Or
no,
Okay.
No, this is a classic, and there was
all right, and then we'll
$3.95 shot to hell. Anyway.
There you go.
Thank you, Martin Nash, for that.
That's my beginner's cut there, which actually is my expert cut. I only know how to do them one way.
All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the deck here, and I'm going to find a couple of cards that I'm going to use as predictions. I've got one. I'm going to go with this one over here. But no, I'm going to stick with those. George, this, by the way, is usually better with more than one person, but oh well. So, George, what I'm going to have you do is just deal cards into a pile right here. And whenever you want, you just stop. Stop on impulse. Are you sure you want to stop right there?
Stop right there.
Okay. And we'll just mark your spot right there.
Perfect.
Okay? All right. Now, this is where the deck would be given to someone else.
Right.
And they do exactly the same thing. They just deal a pile of cards right there, stopping whenever they wish. Okay? And then that marks that right there. Okay? Now, let's review this real quick. You shuffled the deck. You could have shuffled even more if you wanted to. And
right.
I just took out two cards that I thought might be significant in some way. Maybe not obvious right away, but maybe later on, like right now. Now, did I influence you as to where to stop?
Nope, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Okay, good. Because what we're going to do is we're going to take the card you stopped at and the card that I picked, and we're going to put them right there, and just going to get rid of all the other cards. Okay. Now let's see how well we did. Well, that's interesting. Now, that may have been luck. I mean, but let's see how we did with this one. Let's see. Oh, crud. This doesn't work every time, guys, but this time it did.
Well done.
Thank you.
Excellent. That's a very good one. The one I'm going to do for you right now, it's one that is one of my favorites. And what I would do to begin is I would write down a card that is going to be my prediction. In this case, my prediction is going to be the 6 of diamonds. And I would write 6 of diamonds on one of my business cards, put it in an envelope, and put it in front of the person for whom I am performing. Actually, if there's more than one, which is preferable, I will give it to another one of the spectators, and then I would simply show that all the cards are different, a regular deck. I mean, we can keep going here. And here is the fun part. So basically, Dave, we've predicted a card. You already know which one it is. What I want you to do is to tell me to stop wherever you like, whenever you like.
Right there.
Right there? Mm-hmm. This one or this one?
That one.
This one. We'll put it down there. We'll take our cards. And then at this point, I would have whomever I gave the envelope to open it. And I would say, Dave, the purpose of this effect was to see if we connect mentally at some level. And I think we've been able to do that. I predicted that your card what's going to be? Could you reveal it?
6 of diamonds.
6 of diamonds. And then, Dave, would you turn over your card? And
6 of diamonds.
6 of diamonds. So another simple, self-working effect. Obviously, all of these effects are effects that we'll be teaching through our American Magic Guild Academy, through videos, and you will learn not only the handling, but how the effect is done. And as we were talking before we started taping, there are many variations to doing some of these effects. This one, any card at any number, can be done in a variety of ways. Gemini Twins also has a variation called Gemini Calling, and you would learn those, which are quite easy to perform. But if you're just starting out, you want to have effects that are powerful, yet easy to do. Because one thing that is important is the performance. Don't you agree?
Oh, that's to me really the most important thing. There's a thing I used to do, still do it, but not as often. When I would do walk around gigs, especially, there was 2 tricks that I did. They were both exactly the same, but because the presentation was different, nobody realized it. You want to see it?
Well, let's go ahead and do it.
Basically, what you do is you take a deck, and it can be borrowed, it can be however you want. You cut it like this, and what I would do is I would say, okay, now I'm not going to watch, I'm not going to look, but I just want you to say stop wherever you want.
Stop.
Right there. You sure?
Yes.
Okay, take a look at the card. I'm not going to peek.
Okay.
Got it?
Yes.
All right. And I'm just going to put the deck down. You can even put the deck away. You can do whatever. And I'd say, okay, now I want you to look right here at me, okay? I want you to think of your card. Keep it right there in your mind. Ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, Jack, Queen, King. Ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, Jack, Queen, King. It's a Jack.
Yes, it is.
It's a Jack. Okay, so clubs, hearts, spades, diamonds, clubs, hearts, spades, diamonds, clubs, hearts. It's the diamonds. It was the Jack of diamonds.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, I'll show you the other thing. It is the exact same trick. But I would say, okay, I'm not going to peek. Go ahead and just say stop.
Stop.
Right there. All right, take a look. Got the card.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not peeking. Put the deck down. Now, I'm going to ask you a series of questions. Okay. And you can either tell me the truth or you can lie to me. Okay. It's up to you. I'm going to see if I can catch you in a lie. Was your card red or black?
Black.
That's the truth. That's the truth. Very good. Was it a club or a spade?
It was a spade.
You're telling the truth again. That's good. Was it a number card or a picture card?
Number.
You're telling the truth again. Yes. Was it a high number or a low number? We'll say above 5 is high, below 5 is...
It's high.
It's high. Let's see. Yep, you're telling the truth again. What do you know? Was it the 6 of spades?
No.
That's true too. Was it the 7 of spades?
It was the 7 of spades.
You're right. See, now it's much more entertaining if they lie to you eventually. But Mr. Honesty here just couldn't... I'm just kidding, George.
Remember, magicians, we lie for a living.
That's true. That's true. But actually, I'm going to show you what would have happened if he had lied. The way I performed it is I would say, was your card, let's say it's still the 7 of spades. Was your card a red card or a black card?
A red card.
You're lying. Instantly, you're lying. And I would really force on them, you're lying, because it would catch them off guard. And people would squeal, especially the women. They would just, oh! Now, that was the same trick done twice. And people would drag me around to their friends, do this one. And it was just like, okay, sure.
That's an excellent one. Now,
Yep.
Let's go and show them another one. And
Okay.
Dave, what I'm going to do, and this one, again, is usually better if we have more than 2 people. Mm-hmm. And just a little simple little shuffle there. Another little shuffle. And brand new cards, can you tell?
Yeah, I can hear them screaming too every time.
Okay, so Dave, here are your cards.
Okay.
What I want you to do is to shuffle them down, one on top of the other,
One on top of the other?
Yeah.
Okay.
And by the way, you can do it from the middle, from the bottom, wherever
okay.
you like.
How about some from there, some from down here maybe, and maybe a couple from top, and we'll take a few from the middle. How about right there? Okay.
Excellent.
All right.
Well done. So I'll take those.
Okay.
And I'll get them out of the way. So now, will you take those again and split them into 2 piles, left, right?
Just like back and forth?
Yeah, back and forth.
Okay.
You've done this before.
Many times. Okay.
Okay, so I want you to put your finger right here.
Okay.
Really concentrate, and when I say go, just react. Don't think. Go. Put your finger left and right.
Oh, you said react. I was like, well, react what?
React.
Okay. Ready?
Here's a good example. If you don't give the complete instructions, things can go awry. So
Okay.
when I say go, you'll react. Don't think about it too much, and move your finger on top of the left or the right pile. Go. Perfect. So we're going to take this one out, and as you can see, different cards, but you chose not to use those. So which card did you decide to put your finger on?
Jack of spades.
Jack of spades. Will you show the camera that in fact that is the Jack of spades, and as you can see, all these cards are different. You could have stopped any place that you wanted. Okay. So I have this other deck of cards here, and I would have this in the hands of another spectator. There's an old saying, X hits the spot. And I believe that that is true. Would you mind pulling the deck out?
Sure.
Okay. And would you mind spreading the deck out,
Face down.
face down, and see if you see an X on any one of those cards?
Not so. No. Not so.
Okay. Oh, there is one
Okay.
there. Okay.
All right.
And we'll agree that all the other ones don't have an X on them.
Yeah, at first I thought maybe there wasn't one.
Yeah, well, that makes the trick even more exciting, doesn't it? So, you chose freely the Jack of spades. There was no way that I shuffled the cards, regular shuffle. You decided where you were going to stop.
Right.
Then you took the cards that you had chosen and created 2 piles with it. Instinctively, you put your finger on one of the cards, the top card on one of the piles. Will you turn that X card and see what it is?
Jack of spades. Very
Jack of
cool.
spades.
Very cool trick.
We have to give credit. This is a Max Maven effect, and it is a wonderful. It's been around for a long, long time. And if you get the effect that Max created, you will learn that he also gives credit to the folks who contributed to him coming up with this remarkable mentalism effect. So now let's talk about mentalism effects in general. As you can see, mentalism and cards go very well. They go hand in hand for not just a beginner, for anyone, but for beginners, it's a wonderful and simple way to wow a small group at a table or walk around doing walk around magic.
Even on stage.
Even on stage, especially now when one performs on a large stage, given the technology, there are usually cameras and screens, and so everything that you couldn't do a few years ago, you can now because it's projected onto this giant screen, so everybody can see close up. It makes it very good. But what are the things that a mentalist must do to have a really effective show? It was about 10 days ago. In fact, it was exactly 10 days ago. We had Oz Perlman come to do a performance for a company that I work for, and there were 1,700 people there. The thing that was incredible about it was not how difficult the effects were, but how marvelous his presentation was and how he managed the audience. Some of the things that you will learn in mentalism courses is that there are elements to any mentalism presentation or program. And maybe we can talk a little bit about pre-show, what that is, without giving the specifically what goes there. But pre-show is a scene setter. It's where you really get to select, to pick some of the folks that you'll call on stage, and to surreptitiously learn a little bit more about them than they think that they're letting you know. How else would you talk about it?
I would say for me, it is one of the more difficult techniques in mentalism, simply because you have to make it appear that you actually didn't do anything, at the beginning of the show.
Right. I don't know about you, but John and I never pre-show.
No, I never pre-show. There is an exception to that. There's one trick that uses pre-show that I use, that I love, and I recommend it highly. It's a trick from Max Maven called the four-sided triangle. And it's in the Red Book of Mentalism? Blue Book? I don't remember. It's in Prism.
But they can look at it.
You can look it up. It's a wonderful trick.
The other thing that we do is we do prep work that is not pre-show, where we basically prepare some of the effects or the outcome of the effects of what we're going to need. That is very important. One thing about audience management, if you're a magician and you're on stage, you're used to being on stage. If you're not, such as the members of the audience, you can have some interesting moments. In this one case, he closed the show with a variation of a well-known effect to mentalists, but the payoff was inside a FedEx envelope. The person that he called up was so excited he nearly ripped not only the FedEx but the envelope and its contents inside. So one has to be very cautious. And you notice that when we started, when we were doing progression,
that was the trick with the X.
With the X,
by the way.
That I said react, but I didn't say how to react, and that could have created some problems. You got to be very specific in your audience management. But you do want, if you want to do pre-show, learn how to do it and learn how to do it well. Then number two, if you're going to prep, and do it early enough that that's not a concern. Do it way before you do the sound check and everything else. And getting back to the topic at hand, if you bring somebody that is not used to being on stage, remember that if you are not careful with your instructions, things can go right very quickly. Mm-hmm. The next thing is you got to have your set list of what effects you're going to perform. And as you're performing them, and Dave, you can add to this, me personally, and I know John does too, we kind of, as we're performing, we see people in the audience react. And we go, that's the person that we're bringing up on stage next. If you pre-select without being warmed up, you're really not going to know how they react to things. But if you're doing an effect and you can peek a little glance at some of the people in the audience and how they react, you can be very effective in bringing people who are going to be excited, are going to be cooperative, which, and it also has to do with your style. Part of my style, I always call it the dance, is they're performing with me. I'm not performing for them. So everything is we, if we do this, if this works out for us, and then they're invested, because if it doesn't work out, they're part of the outcome. How do you manage the audience for your effects, for your mentalism in particular?
For mentalism, well, I look for the person who is paying very close attention, but not the person. I'll give you an example. I was doing a show, this was 20 years ago, probably, in a little town, and there was a guy right in front who was sitting like this the whole time. Just like that. And I thought, that is the guy I am not going to pick for any reason. Because it was I don't know how to explain it other than I knew that if I had picked him, he was going to derail you. Something was going to happen. Something bad was going to happen. But the person who was like leaning forward, smiling, the person that, would laugh at my idiot jokes, as my kids would call them, those were the people that I really said, okay, this person's good for this person's good for that. You also kind of have to watch out for tricks where if they have to know that this is the jack of clubs, you want to find out.
If they know what a jack of clubs looks like.
Right, because there's nothing worse than getting somebody up and having them either not know what this is or the jack of puppy feet, or you got to be careful. Now, there's some, like with prediction, if you have the two together and they matched, well, then obviously they did it right.
Yeah.
But if it's one of those tricks where they have to know the name of the card, you don't want to pick the guy who has never seen a deck of cards in his life.
And one of the things I do is, so are you familiar with cards? Clubs, spades, diamond, hearts, and kind of show them, and if they kind of go, well, yeah, is that what they are? Or you seem to you detect that they're kind of scared because they don't really know. Give them something else to do. So here, you hold the deck, and then let's bring somebody else. Hopefully you're not going to end up with 3 people holding part of the deck. But again, as you call them up, who here plays poker? Who here considers themselves to be skilled at cards?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with asking questions of the audience.
Questions. Very old saying says, how do you know? How do you know the answer to any question? And do you know what the answer is?
You ask it.
You ask. If you don't ask, then, what are they, how are you going to know whether they know or not? It's part of everything else that we do in Magic. So, and then time and distance. I kind of forget to talk about that a little bit. If you're doing pre-show, there has to be time and distance. From the time that you ask the questions, enough time has to go by and other topics covered so that they don't, you can't just talk about one thing and then all of a sudden your mentalism, that's what you're going to talk about.
Right.
The other thing that you have to be careful of is angles. Now, nothing that we've done here really had any angles to
none.
worry about, but if you get to do more advanced stuff and you're working with billets and billet knives, you're working with some of these other more advanced things, you have to make sure that you're positioned in such a way that anything that shouldn't be disclosed to your audience, it's not. And at the same time, make sure that everything that needs to be seen by the audience is seen. Don't perform in shadow so that they go, what did he just do? We were at a show not too long ago. My wife was with me, and it was he wasn't very experienced, but he was trying his best, and he was doing a couple of things that were going over that he shouldn't have been performing. And my wife was saying, "Did you see what he just did?" And I'm going, "If my wife, granted, our families have been around Magic, but if your spouse is there making comments about somebody's double lift or somebody doing this or that." Practice. Only do what you can actually perform in an excellent fashion. So that's the recommendation. Dave, should we do one more self-working
Sure.
trick? Anything in mind?
Not a clue.
Well, that works.
I can show you something that it's not exactly self-working, but it's not hard.
Well, let's do something here, and then they can follow along. So
okay.
I'm going to. I don't know, I'm going to throw that one out there. Dave, would you put it there?
Sure.
Dave, what I want you to do is take the deck.
Okay.
And here, we're going to make it even more exciting. So as I go by, whenever the mood hits you, tell me to stop.
Stop.
Right there, or one more?
One more.
One more, okay?
Okay.
So Dave, I have a sense here. I got a feeling that you and I can make a really good mental connection working together, sending each other cues. I think we've done a little bit of that already without realizing it, but I was kind of seeing where you were taking me with this. Dave, we have 2 piles of cards.
Okay.
And we have a card over there. What I hope will happen is that 2 of the cards that we work with will match. We
Okay.
can do that?
Sure. Why not?
Okay, so should we start with this group or this group?
Let's start with this group over here.
Okay, so we'll start here, and what we'll do is whatever the top card is, if it's a 7, we'll count 7. If it's a 6, we'll count 6 from here. If it's a jack, we'll count 11. And this one is a
5.
5. So how many do we have to count?
5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, Dave, what was the object here? To have at least 2 of the cards match, right?
Right.
Now you have 3 choices, top card, or that card by itself. Which one would you like to go to?
Let's go with this one.
Would you flip it over?
Sure.
Amazing. We got 2 5s.
Hey.
But you know, Dave, you know what would be really amazing?
What's up?
If 3 of them matched.
That would
So,
be cool.
You got 2 choices. Which one would you like to
Let's
go to?
try this one.
Let's try it. Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
You know, 3 is really tough, but you know what it's next to impossible?
Getting all 4.
Getting all 4.
Yeah.
Let's go for it. Why not?
I'm scared. No.
And
Look
there
at
we
that.
are.
All 4.
So again, very simple trick. The presentation is more than anything else with the effect. And it's one that we'll be happy to show you if you subscribe to American Magic Guild and enter your name. It's going to be on our next newsletter, and we'll reveal this one. What do you think?
Sure, why not?
Why not? This one's been around for a long time, and it's not really a one that professionals perform, except me. I like it.
I love this trick. This is a great trick.
It's a, well, we'll think about divulging it. What do you think? Probably say, yeah, divulging
Yeah,
it.
you're probably saying go ahead.
So, go ahead. So, anyway, this is...
Except for the magicians who use it.
the magicians who don't do that. So, hey, thank you for joining us. Let us wish you the happiest of holidays. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. The one thing we have in common at this time of the season is that we're a little more aware of loving our fellow being and being a little kinder than we normally are. And I would hope that that's how, as magicians, we treat each other all year. But happiest of holidays, may 2018 be a wonderful and magical year for you. Dave?
Merry Christmas.